This place is beautiful, Holmes. Its atmosphere is remarkably soothing.
Let us find
Indeed.
someone who could help us.
What's this? Broken pieces of a pot.
A fragment of a flower pot.
Yes.
Fragments of a flower pot.
Yes. And there's a cover here with more pots inside, with the symbol of...
The Kew Gardens symbol.
Oh. How very interesting. Here I was thinking I'd see the same symbol, but the tables seem to have turned.
Good day to you, sir. My name is Sherlock.
I am exalting the sun. A while can you wait? From the trace of elements and moreover from the quality of the ambient geotropism it depends. Therefore, please, mind my gravitropism. Its balance, do not disturb.
Disturbed is most definitely the word.
There. Completed is the symbiosis. Welcome you are. To introduce myself I shall. I am the Green Grand Mystic.
The
Green Grand Mystic.
Himself.
This is me. Who am I speaking to?
We are two gentlemen who are extremely interested in the vegetation philosophy that is advocated by this establishment.
Yes.
Listening to you, I am.
Very well. Questions for you I have. But first, what's this tattoo here? Very interesting dragon tattoo. Fingertip calluses. And palm injury, acid burn, chemical practice. And he's also unmarried, yes. So,
Do you have friends at Kew Gardens?
None. Not worthy there.
I see. And why, are there pots with the Kew Garden symbol here?
Nevertheless, we have seen Kew Gardens flower pots in your yard. How could they happen to be there?
What? Our sacred place you permitted yourself to search. Sacrilege.
No, really now. There was a theft of plants at Kew Gardens a matter of days ago, and we believe the pots we found here may be connected with it. Please tell us, were you involved?
No. Those plants were ours. They had stolen them from us.
How so?
Their director, Dump, I believe.
Done.
Yes, that's what I said. He borrowed from us 3 of our sisters for the exhibition at his green fly-infested gardens. But he never gave them back to us. Excuses and imbecility. So we went in and saved them.
I see.
I
so
see.
If you stole those rare plants from them, then it means... Ah, I get it. Bravo, Holmes. I think the case is solved.
No, we did not steal. We saved. Well, as a matter of fact, we were unable to find our 3 plants.
I beg your pardon. And yet you took all of the exotic plants from the stand.
They had disappeared. It was the least we could do. They stole our sisters, and so we stole theirs.
I see.
We should like to take a look around, to immerse ourselves in the wisdom that emanates from here.
It is a school of anastomosis, the divine scholastic syndicate for vegetation veneration and meditation. You may say, the divine syndicate, glory to the eukaryotic. Only true devotees, those whose hearts are ready to spermatophize in sharing of knowledge, are permitted to physically enter our vegetable kingdom and its wisdom. And to be permitted, you must earn it. Yes.
I see. Well, I do think I'm ready for whatever it is you want.
Green Grand Mystic, we are ready to become devotees and gain access to your temple.
What is the name of our Lord, our God King?
Shriwan, of course.
Our God King's name is Trewan, Green Grand Mystic.
Oh la, good, good, I like you. Here is the holy key to the wisdom place. Holy donation can you make whenever you so wish.
Thank you so much.
I pray you to taste our fertilizer substance. From the burdens of life it helps to free.
But of course.
Very well.
Oh, sap, it is called. It is near the entrance.
Yes.
Well, we will leave you to your meditation.
Indeed. It seems we've found our missing plants. Now, let's enter this place and see what other mysteries we can solve here.
This door is locked.
Oh,
I can try to open it.
very well. Another challenge is afoot, Watson. Stand back. Aha. There we are, Watson. Another lock cracked. Now let's see what's so important here that it would need to be locked.
These instruments are used for smoking opium.
Of course. Opium and...
That would be enough to perform the most difficult of chemical experiments.
a large amount of chemicals. How very interesting, including...
This cabinet is full of chemicals. They are the same as the ones we found in the laboratory at Kew Gardens.
Indeed.
A vast amount of opium.
Well. I see. So it turns out they're hiding opium. What do you think about that, sir?
You came to make a donation? Glory to Trewan!
That should be the raw sap that the Green Grand Mystic spoke of.
Yes, from Earth itself.
This is rather delicious, and of an excellent quality.
My word, Holmes. Their sap is like a form of cocaine.
Oh, is it? I don't feel anything so far, Watson.
Caterpillars. They are raised as food for certain plants. Let's take them.
I should raise them as my own, Watson. I will name each one of them and tend for all of them. Oh.
A tropical plant. Nothing of interest.
Of course.
A tropical plant.
Of course, yes, indeed. And what do we have here? More tropical plants?
A tropical.
Yes.
Yes.
Tropical plants, tropical plants. Tropical plants everywhere.
These 3 plants are identical to the ones shown at the exhibition. I shall take them.
Here we have exotic plants. I'm sure that the Grand Dragon of the Earth or whatever will not mind me taking those for a while.
Let us determine just what we have found here. Let us pour liquid from the bottle into a test tube to perform an analysis. This is the bottle.
Of course, yes. Where are the test tubes then? Oh, of course. We'll not pour the glass bottle into the test tube like some sort of savage. No, we will use a pipette. Yes. There we are. Now.
A colorless, water-based liquid.
I shall inhale it.
Quite a strong floral aroma.
I shall
Holmes?
taste it.
What are you doing?
It has a bitter taste.
What if it's poisonous?
Did you ever see poison stored in enormous jars like that? Anyway, there is a doctor nearby.
So what do you
Yes.
think it is?
It is some kind of organic compound. Let us vaporize the liquid and see what happens.
Indeed. Oh. Like so, yes. Oh. What's this?
Small colorless crystals. Colorless, tiny crystals that are soluble in water, with a floral smell and a bitter taste. Watson, could you pass me that small bottle, please?
Of course. Here you are. Holmes, do you know what it is?
Wagner's reagent. There was a label on the bottle that you passed to me.
No, Holmes, I meant the bottle that we found.
Let me add the reagent and see if there is any sediment, and then I shall tell you.
Yes.
I need to take a pipette.
Of course. I'm not a savage. I'll use this pipette. There we are. I shall add it to this organic compound.
Red sediment, just as I suspected.
Aha.
This liquid is of organic origin. It contains some alkaloid. Most likely it is unstable, and that is why there is a quantity of gold dust to prevent contamination.
Yes.
This mixture is probably a fertilizer. Someone was carrying out unusual experiments in the garden's laboratory.
There we are.
This substance is an alkaloid, the same as in the bottle we found in the bushes at Kew Gardens.
Yes. I shall take it and use it for my experiment. So, here we have suspicious ingredients, the alkaloid, caterpillars, and deadly plants, and the missing deadly plants. No, the Divine Syndicate thieves. No, Hamish's anger. Deadly plants were stolen. Dunne was trapped. Poisoning. Aha. So, I need to set up the alkaloid from a chemical laboratory and the caterpillars and perform the experiment with the deadly plants. There we are. Very good.
Perfect, Watson. We can begin our experiment.
Indeed. Let us begin the
I imagine that one of these plants would be capable of releasing a toxic vapor. I need to find out exactly how it could be done. I shall begin now. Watson, if you are at all optimistic to have dinner this evening, then I'd recommend that you put on the gas mask.
Yes. So, let's see what happens if we do this.
My word.
Oh.
It shot a spike at me after I stabbed it with a pin. I imagined that its reaction would be ferocious if I increased the strength of my attack.
Indeed. And here? Oh. Oh.
It appears to have fallen inactive after being disturbed.
Indeed. And here?
No reaction.
No reaction. Very well. What about the caterpillar? If you put one here, what happens? Oh.
How interesting.
Oh.
What a strong and effective defensive mechanism.
Oh. What about here? Oh.
I find the behavior of predators utterly fascinating.
And here? Indeed. What about some alkaloid? Oh.
This plant becomes inactive after being drenched with alkaloid.
I see. And this? Same thing.
This plant becomes inactive.
Yes. Intriguing. And this?
It appears to open after being soaked with alkaloid.
Oh. How very interesting. So perhaps if I replace this one here, then put the caterpillar here, what happens? Oh. Well,
Toxic
well, well.
gas with spores. Extraordinary.
How interesting.
The plants would be capable of killing only if they were directly next to the victim and stimulated at precisely the right moment.
Let us
Yes.
take our caterpillars to the Colonial Collection Room. We may see things more clearly there.
It is too early, Watson. Our suspects will be there. Let us investigate Kew Gardens one more time and ask some questions.
Excuse me, Mr. Hamish.
Can you tell me if you saw Mr. Montague Dunne on the day of his death?
Yes, of course. I met him, and we went to see Albert, his son, at around 9:30. He appeared quite calm.
I see. And what about you?
What were you doing on the morning of the accident?
After paying multiple visits to Albert, I had a little talk with Miss White. Then I returned to my desk to complete some paperwork. Suddenly I observed that Mr. Dunne was not feeling well, so I ran immediately to fetch Albert. I clearly remember that it was around 10:30, for I was late that morning.
Albert?
Your father's death does seem highly suspicious. What were your movements here on that day?
Suspicious. Well, I was working in the seed house, taking care of something, or Lear Pontus, or... No, wait. These Latin names. And I spent so many hours trying to memorize them.
Did you see your father that day?
Yes, he came here with Mr. Hamish for his weekly visit. There was nothing unusual about that.
And then?
Nothing. They stepped out to the backyard. It was perhaps 20 minutes before 10 o'clock. Then about 10 minutes later, I saw my father heading for the dry tropics room while Mr. Hamish returned here.
I see. And what about the rest of the workers here?
And Mr. Hamish and Miss White? What were they both doing that morning?
Mr. Hamish visited me a couple of times. I also saw him returning from talking with Miss White, and that was at 10 minutes past 10. But then he ran back here to me to tell me that my father was feeling unwell. We hurried across to the water lily room, and I found my father lying dead on the floor. Oh, my God.
Hello again, Miss White.
Can you tell me what Mr. Dunne was doing upon the day of his death?
I can, but there is nothing very special to say. I was in the laboratory when I saw Mr. Dunne heading towards me. Tuesday is the day of his weekly visit. It was supposed to be at 9, but he was 10 minutes late, as usual.
And then?
Well, he came in to say good morning. Then I saw him spend 2 or 3 minutes by the plants outside the laboratory. After that, he ran out in the direction of the nursery, where Mr. Hamish was working. He was always in a rush during the inspection, you see. I would pity anyone who stood in his way.
I see. And what about the time of death?
And that was the last time you saw him?
Yes. I stayed in the laboratory until 20 minutes to 11, when I heard the cries of Albert and Mr. Hamish from the large glass house. I joined them as soon as I could, for I knew that something must be very wrong.
What exactly were you doing in the laboratory?
I was recording an experiment for my thesis. I only stopped my work once when Mr. Hamish visited me briefly around 10 o'clock.
Can we have access to your record?
You say you were recording an experiment when the tragedy occurred. Might I listen to the roll?
Certainly. Please do. You will find it in the laboratory. It is number 320.
I see.
Thank you, miss.
Everyone has gone, Holmes. The
Oh.
way is clear.
Indeed. Very well. Let us begin. So, based on the details that I've gathered, Mr. Dunne inhaled the deadly spores here, knocked over the bust, and escaped the room. There we are, like so. Step 1, and then step number 2, like so. And there we are.
When Montague Dunne was standing close by the plants, the caterpillars were released and caused the deadly spores to activate. Panicking,
Yes.
and likely already half asphyxiated, Montague Dunne started back and knocked over the bust. He rushed to the door, but it was locked. He had to force it open with his shoulder.
Locked.
We already know the outcome. Montague Dunne collapsed and died not far from the pool. Well,
Yeah.
it is time to perform our experiment on the ventilation system.
These plants, classified as shrubs or grasses, have adapted to their arid environment due to a system of underground roots.
This recording seems very long. It is unnecessary to listen to all of it. Miss White was in the laboratory, as she told us.
So it would seem. There we are. So, I think I'll need to
The power is on.
switch on the power, turn off the transmission,
The
Turn
engine
on.
has started.
the starter, then turn on the transmission. Like so.
The ventilation system is working.
Yes. Now let's see where the ducts themselves lead us. Aha, yes. The ducts go through, into a control lever.
Excellent. This ventilation fan is working. Let us see if I can activate the other one.
So the view of the interior of the Colonial Collection Room and the control lever for this fan are all right next to Mr. Hamish's office. That is very interesting. Indeed. Now, we go through here and into the seed house where Miss White is.
Perfect. Now I just need to find Watson to check the result.
Yes. Watson, how well did you get on?
It works perfectly, Holmes. Bravo.
Oh,
Now, if you could just help me to get rid of these caterpillars.
Perfect. Now we know how the murder of Montague Dunne was carried out, by activating both Albert's and Mr. Hamish's fans.
But only from Mr. Hamish's workplace would it be possible to see when Montague Dunne entered the Colonial Collection Room.
indeed. So, let us start connecting the pieces back together. Deadly precision required. Hamish's anger. Ventilation used. Yes. Deadly precision. Dunne was trapped. Deadly plant stolen. Poisoning. Albert's ambition. Deadly precision. White's studies. Very interesting. White and Dunne. Miss White's family. Deadly precision. Divine syndicate thieves. Albert's ambition. White's expulsion. Missing deadly plants. Divine syndicate thieves. The new director. Deadly plants stolen. Deadly plants stolen. Poisoning. The new director. Hamish's anger. Yes. Albert's humiliation. Albert's ambition. White and Dunne. Dunne was trapped. White's expulsion. Dunne was trapped. Montague Dunne inhaled a virulent vegetal poison that was intended to kill him. Yes, very good. Now let us begin. White either lacked experience or had knowledge. Now, the knowledge Miss White acquired at the university might not be enough to guarantee the correct reaction of the deadly plants. Miss White and Mr. Dunne had a recent disagreement. Montague Dunne was planning to release Miss White from her position at Kew Gardens. Margaret White's studies and social situation were completely dependent upon Montague Dunne's wealth. Indeed. The Divine Syndicate stole all plants from the exhibition, including the deadly species. They could have used them in order to murder Montague Dunne. Or, it was as the great green dragon said, only a partial theft. They stole all but the deadly plants from the exhibition. Yes. The killers may be those who stole the exotic plants, including the deadly species, from the last exposition at Kew Gardens. Albert had a motive to kill his father, Montague Dunne. Dunne had thwarted Albert's dream of joining the Royal Navy. By killing his father, Albert could have his revenge, and eventually succeed in his father's place as the director of Kew Gardens. But I'm afraid that Albert is not very good at botany. It is doubtful that he could have learned how the plants might release their deadly spores. So, after being trapped in the Colonial Collection room by the killer, Montague Dunne was affected by inhaling a virulent vegetal poison. Martin Hamish had a motive. He believed that he and his father's lives had been ruined by Dunne, who had taken all the credit for all of their work. Hamish wished to take over the directorship of Kew Gardens, but he knew that would not be possible with Dunne still alive. Martin Hamish had the opportunity to stimulate the deadly plants in the Colonial Collection room. As a biologist, he would have understood the technicality of how to do this. Which leads us on to the most important part of this. The sect is not involved. Someone stole the deadly plants before the Divine Syndicate were able to. Which means that Hamish is guilty. Martin Hamish could be the killer. He had the opportunity to steal the Divine Syndicate's plants and stimulate them from his workplace, directly after he had locked Montague Dunne inside the Colonial Collection room. It is time to arrest Mr. Martin Hamish.
Inspector, I believe that Martin Hamish is guilty of the murder of Montague Dunne.
Aha! I knew it. I'll send the lads around to arrest him.
Very good.
Very good.
I shall wait to hear from you. Inspector, I came here as quickly as I could.
Martin Hamish is in the large glass house. There's no need to hurry.
Indeed. Do you care to explain on that, Inspector? He is under arrest, yes?
Holmes, my God!
Oh.
Yes. We found him like that.
Our messing around with the ventilation system didn't go unnoticed. Mr. Hamish realized that we knew.
Inspector, could you arrange the body, please? I should like to examine it.
There we are. Thank you, Inspector. What's this? A letter from Mr. Hamish. Life has become a living hell. I find it unbearable. Dunne deserved to die, but I cannot forgive myself for having his blood upon my hands. We Hamishes seem to have always fallen victim to our circumstance, and I find myself to be no exception. I must atone, and I shall do so here and now. Farewell.
The mark around the neck is very visible. He died instantly.
Yes, it would appear so. Oh, what's this? It seems...
Holmes, his left shoe is unique. This anomaly is often a characteristic of...
A
club foot.
Bravo,
Watson.
That is the key element of this case.
Yes, indeed. So, Hamish has admitted to murdering Montague Dunne, but the worn-down double heel of his left shoe reveals that he suffered from a club foot and tibial torsion. Therefore, Martin Hamish was unable to run due to the tibial torsion on his club foot. Therefore, we should find out if he had sufficient time to lock the door of the Colonial Collection Room and activate the ventilation system. Or did he have an accomplice? I shall discuss with Lestrade the possible impact of new clues found on the body of Martin Hamish. Inspector, it seems that this case is yet over, I'm afraid.
Something about this rings very oddly.
Why do you say that, Mr. Holmes?
Why? Because of Mr. Hamish's club foot. Oh, I deserve to be kicked from here to Charing Cross. I should have noticed it.
But, Mr. Holmes, I can't see why.
No, I don't suppose you do. You must recall that Mr. Dunne was locked inside the Colonial Collection Room by the murderer. If it was Mr. Hamish, he would have had to run up to his workplace to trigger the fan situated above it, taking into consideration the condition of his foot.
Well, it is still possible.
Perhaps. But it is rather strange that such a person as Mr. Hamish decided to base his plan on the speed of his gait.
You mean to say that somebody helped him?
So the suicide is questionable?
Correct.
Indeed.
Mr. Hamish accuses only himself in his letter, and so the investigation stops.
Possibly an accomplice, then? That idea had not occurred to me, Mr. Holmes.
I have another idea,
Of course not.
Inspector. Thanks to the testimony that we have collected, we are able to rebuild the events as they took place that day.
With a timeline, such as we did in the Jack the Ripper case.
Precisely.
Correct.
The map at the entrance of Kew Gardens should help us with our timeline.
Of course.
Let us analyze the facts and statements so that we may recreate the events of that morning.
So, we begin with 9:30. Martin Hamish and Montague Dunne went to meet Albert in the Seed House at around 9:30. It was around 20 minutes to 10 when Hamish and Montague Dunne went out to the backyard. So, they go into the backyard at around 20 minutes to 10. After 10 minutes, Dunne recommenced his inspection, and entered the dry tropics room. Yes, so after 10 minutes here. And Hamish returned to the Cedar House. There we are. Martin Hamish had a conversation with Miss White at 10 o'clock. Here. Miss White was in the laboratory until 10:40, when she saw Hamish and Albert in the Water Lily greenhouse and joined them there. 10:40. Hamish ran to Albert as soon as he observed that Montague Dunne was unwell, which is at around 10:30. Albert was in the Seed House the entire morning. He observed Hamish returning from visiting Miss White at 10 minutes past 10. So, right here. Is that right? There we are. Together, Albert and Leaf and back to Colonial Collection. He gets poisoned, trapped, dies, and then they all come here.
Let us summarize. Montague Dunne was poisoned inside the Colonial Collection Room.
Yes.
He forced open the door, which means that someone locked him inside there at 10:20.
Correct. Yes.
Martin Hamish was last seen at 10:10. This means that he has approximately 10 minutes to lock the door of the Colonial Collection Room. Given that he was club-footed, it is doubtful. Albert also has 10 minutes to lock the door of the Colonial Collection Room, which is quite enough time. Miss White was last seen at 10 o'clock, which means that she had approximately 20 minutes to lock the door. More than enough time.
Indeed.
Perfect.
So,
now, let us ascertain who assisted Martin Hamish in killing Montague Dunne.
Well, we already know it's not Hamish. It's impossible. And we know for sure that it couldn't be Albert because he is his son and he is inexperienced for this sort of thing. So, Miss White had 20 minutes. It would have been enough to trap Montague Dunne. She could have locked the door and alerted Martin Hamish to activate the ventilation system. And Albert is not involved. Martin Hamish and Albert are not accomplices. It is unlikely that Albert would have had the opportunity, and 10 minutes would have not been enough to lock the door of the Colonial Collection room. Which means that White is an accomplice. Margaret White was Martin Hamish's accomplice in killing Montague Dunne. Her professional ambition and personal situation had been damaged by the breakup with Dunne. Miss White is a desperate woman in debt, resigned to consorting with wealthy gentlemen. When Dunne cast her aside, she killed him in desperation. Hamish tried to save her. She deserves a second chance. Miss White is a dangerous woman, very capable of carrying out an elaborate murder for monetary gain. She flirted with Dunne's son, Albert, and later pushed Martin Hamish to suicide. She deserves the rope. It seems that Miss White is not as innocent as it would seem. She was indeed manipulating Albert. She manipulated Hamish to suicide, and she almost manipulated Mr. Montague Dunne until he let her go. She still managed to leave with a 5-year study in an expensive university, expensive hotels, expensive jewelry, all of that. She was not poor, she was not innocent. She deserves the rope. And that's the last I shall talk about this.
But Holmes, how can you be certain that we'll find Miss White here?
It is obvious, Watson. Just use your brain.
I am using it. I do use it.
Now that the rope has tightened around Martin Hamish, Miss White must act to erase all traces of her implication. After the suicide of her accomplice, there is one final trace remaining: the deadly plants of the Divine Syndicate. She will be there.
Very good. Shall we go?
Just one moment. Now listen to me, Watson. I shall see her alone. You will conceal yourself behind her, quietly.
Whatever are you planning?
Nothing spectacular. The impulses of women have always been a mystery to me. But she is a bold one, and so we must be cautious.
All right.
Yes.
You can count on me, Holmes.
Very good, Watson. I do, in fact, count on you.
Mr. Holmes, good day to you.
You do not seem surprised, Miss White.
Well, I was expecting you.
Not for too
Indeed.
long, I believe. So please tell me, as it is still unclear, who planned the murder? Was it you?
You were wrong, Mr. Holmes.
It was Martin Hamish, then. You managed to convince him to take on a more prominent role.
You could not be further from the truth.
You think that you can fool me?
You don't care what I think.
It is difficult to care about someone who is capable of pushing a man to his suicide. It is over, Miss White. The police will be here any minute.
Over, perhaps. One moment you were here, and the next, you were on the other side.
The other side? No! Stop!
Don't do that! You crazy woman. Put that down. Please, you don't want to do this?
I beg you not to do this, Miss White.
Don't come any closer.
Miss White, please. Think about what you're doing.
Please remain calm.
Think about the consequences.
Not one step further. Don't try to stop me.
Miss White, I cannot stop.
Stop this foolishness. You cannot truly want to die.
No, it's too late.
Please think about this very carefully. I know it's hard for you. There we are. Very good, Watson. Nicely done, sir.
Well done, Watson. She was not faking.
Miss White, you have no right to take your own life.
Dr. Watson? Did you just save me? Or worse?
Miss White is a dangerous woman, very capable of carrying out an elaborate murder. When she realized that she was unable to make any further monetary gain from Montague Dunne, she advanced her affections to Albert, his son. She was the one who locked the door of the Colonial Collection room directly after Hamish released the caterpillars, and then pushed Martin Hamish to his suicide only to cover herself. She got what she deserved.